first-party integration between Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Dynamics 365 for chat and voice coming soon. Hello, I'm Microsoft MVP Tom Morgan. Microsoft have already made a number of announcements at Microsoft Ignite this year. There's another one that came out yesterday that is definitely worth digging into. That's this integration between Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Dynamics 365. There's actually 3 separate announcements that were made in a session yesterday called Microsoft Teams and Dynamics 365, the unified collaboration platform for modern business. We're going to talk about each of those 3 announcements right now. So the first one is to do with using Dynamics marketing and some of the new functionality announced for Microsoft Teams in webinars. So as already announced, Microsoft Teams can now host webinars and sort of have that as a way of using Teams to host webinars for your organization where people can kind of register and join. They don't have to have Teams accounts, members of the public, prospective leads, all the rest of it. And on wrap up of a Teams webinar, you're able to see the participant list inside Teams. However, if you also have Dynamics 365, actually what you want to really do is take that list of what is now warm leads, push them into Dynamics, and maybe nurture them as part of some campaign. Thanks to the integration announced yesterday, you can now do that. So from within from within Dynamics 365, you're able to set up an event and say that it's an online event and say that it's a Teams webinar event. That means that actually Dynamics will handle creating the webinar for you, will give you all the links you need, makes it really, really easy to set up a webinar from right within Dynamics. After the event, like I say, you can go and see the activity in Teams, but actually you can go and click a button to go and look at it in Dynamics. It will then import that participant list into Dynamics. It will also segment it by activity, so people who registered, people who showed up, people who cancelled, whatever. And you can then specify your own journey for exactly what you do with those, whether you email them, whether you follow them up with calls, whatever else it is. So that's really a really nice integration. If you're already using Dynamics, if all your leads are already in Dynamics, it completely makes sense that this new webinar functionality fits nicely into that program. The second thing that got announced, and this is the big one for me, voice chat with additional AI capabilities in Dynamics 365 Sales. What does this mean? It means that from within Dynamics 365 Sales, you can go and find a lead, and you can go and contact them directly. You can call them from right within Dynamics. So you get a calling button inside Dynamics, and you have a dialer that is also right within Dynamics that places that call for you. So you don't need to jump to Teams. You can do it all from within Dynamics, and that's really kind of important. It's a great kind of keeping people in their flow. However, it's more than that because Dynamics is now aware of the call that's happening. So you'll get start and stop times. The call record will automatically get added to the lead. The conversation that's happening will be transcribed in real time as you're having it. And key words of that conversation, key portions of that conversation will be pulled out and highlighted for you. So things like names, company names, dates, commitments, amounts, for kind of contracts and whatever, will all be pulled out automatically from that transcript and kind of placed into the Dynamics record for you. So that's kind of huge. We've been waiting for a long time actually to be able to kind of embed this kind of Teams calling functionality into products. So it's really good to see these tentative first steps being made. These are first party integrations that Microsoft are making. It's not something that partners can do today, but this is kind of, you can kind of see where this is going, right? Because where Microsoft first party starts, often they then make those partner opportunities available. Don't know if that's going to happen here, but it's really interesting to see the ability to make a Teams call from right within Dynamics. The other thing that is new is the ability to surface chat in Dynamics as well. So from right within Dynamics, looking at an opportunity, looking at a lead, whatever it is, you'll be able to kind of see the chats that are linked to this opportunity, see related chats, suggested chats. You'll be able to reply right from within Dynamics just to kind of keep that conversation going. You're not flipping between Dynamics and Teams all the time. Again, it's about keeping people in their flow, keeping people working where they're kind of most productive. The other thing that was announced and shown yesterday is a new in-meeting application for Dynamics 365 Sales. So this is now, if you're in Teams, in a meeting, you can pull in content from Dynamics 365 Sales. You can show it. That transcript is available to you as well, meaning that if you're a seller, you kind of maybe started off in Dynamics 365, but actually you need to be in Teams to watch or present a presentation, you can do that, and you still have that same transcript happening. You still have the notes exactly as if you were in Dynamics. It's kind of not clear to me from the demos I saw yesterday whether this specific functionality is only going to be available for meetings or whether it's also going to be available for kind of peer-to-peer direct one-to-one calls. It would make sense for it to be available for one-to-one direct calls because that's how a lot of sales calls are, I imagine. But right now, just looking at the technology stack that's available, in-meeting apps are just for meetings. They're not meant that right now you can't have in-meeting apps for peer-to-peer calls. So I don't know if that kind of speaks to something that's coming. We're just going to have to wait and see, or whether it's just that's the demo, like the limitations of it right now, and maybe it'll evolve over time. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. Finally, in this kind of big section about kind of calling and chats coming to Dynamics 365. There is some integration the other way as well with a new messaging extension that will allow people to bring in information from Dynamics 365 and surface it in Teams. This completely makes sense. And actually you'll also be able to edit information as well that is in Dynamics. You'll be able to make quick edits from right within Teams. The third thing that was announced is an integration between tasks. So Dynamics 365 has tasks, Teams has tasks. What this is an integration between those two. So it doesn't really matter where you make those tasks and where you set them up, where you execute them and where you complete them. You can do it in the place that's right for you, and they're synchronized completely between them. So the kind of typical scenario might be like a head office manager setting up a load of tasks for a load of different stores. That might happen in Teams. The store managers might actually use their point of sale application to kind of review those tasks and assign them to different people. And then the individual kind of employees may then use maybe the Tasks app in Teams, which gives you a nice personalized view and works on your mobile as well, to kind of just check off those tasks as they get done. All those tasks are synchronized together, completely makes sense, all the way back to head office, who can see those tasks being checked off. They can see that sort of progress happening over time. So that completely makes sense. There were a couple of other areas as well where that kind of integration between Dynamics and Teams is kind of gonna evolve, and more functionality is going to be made available. Some specific things that were called out were programmatic tasks, but also checking in customers for curbside pickup. Hugely kind of relevant right now in what we're doing. Curbside pickup is obviously a really big deal at the moment, and I see that probably continuing for a while. So completely makes sense that that's something that Microsoft have called out as something that is coming soon. So there's a whole load of integration points now between Microsoft Teams and Dynamics 365. And I think once all this rolls out, it is fair to say that Teams and Dynamics really do integrate really well together. There's lots of places now where it completely makes sense. And if you're using both of those things, if you're using Teams and you're using Dynamics, I think you're really going to benefit from this integration. It's a strong integration, actually. I think that the team have done here, and I think it looks really, really good. In terms of timelines, when can we expect this to come? So Dynamics tends to release stuff in waves, and they have like a wave plan. I think, although I'm not certain, I think all these announcements are from the Dynamics 365 2021 release Wave 1 plan. That covers work that is kind of due to be released between now, April 2021, and September 2021. So I believe that's what these are. So we should see these be made generally available between kind of April time and September time this year. In terms of the voice integration, so there is a detailed PDF. I'll put a link in the show notes so you can see them. That talks about the voice integration being GA in August. So I'm not certain on that. Again, all these tend to be estimates. They tend to be not kind of nailed down, and anything could change. But I believe that everything that was announced yesterday is from the release Wave 1 plan. That's how I understand it. All right, so that is a kind of a roundup of the integration that is coming between Teams and Dynamics, and coming soon. I hope that's been useful. There is a whole blog post I've done with a whole load of screenshots of what this looks like. I've taken some of the screenshots in this video, but there are more in the blog post if you want to go and look at them. If this video has been useful, please click subscribe, check that notification thing so you kind of get told when I do new videos. I do weekly roundup videos of everything that's new in the Microsoft Teams and the developer platform space, and also other videos as well, sort of for events like Ignite and other big announcements as they come. Or you can follow me on Twitter. Have a great day.